Hello, everyone, and welcome to our info session today on Project Management Certificate for the 2025-26, for the 2026 spring-summer term. My name is Mashur Chaudhry, and I am the manager of recruitment and sales for the Chang School. Now, before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the land on which Toronto Metropolitan University is built upon. Toronto is in the Dish with One Spoon territory. The Dish with One Spoon is a treaty between the Anishinaabe, Mississaugas, and Haudenosaunee that bound them to share the territory and protect the land. I thank the Indigenous people of Turtle Island for their efforts to protect the land, and I deeply regret the past injustices they have endured. As Toronto Metropolitan University seeks to move forward in partnership with Indigenous people, I pledge to foster an environment that is more inclusive and welcoming of Indigenous peoples from all communities. Now, I'd like to go over a few items so you know how to participate in today's session. Your microphone is muted throughout the event so as not to disturb other attendees or the presenters. For the hearing impaired, we have automated captioning available, which you can access by activating it at the toolbar at the bottom of your screen. And you can submit your questions for our speakers today at any time by typing them into the question box of your control panel. We'll collect them throughout the session and address them at the end of the presentation. Now to introduce our panel speakers for today, Jamal El Ali, Academic Coordinator of the Certificate, Rina Murar, a student of the certificate and now working in the healthcare sector, and then we have Kevin Holditch, Director of Project Management at CIBC. Now, before we invite and welcome in our next presenter to go over a quick certificate, we'll do a poll for everyone today. If you can just take a look at my screen, I'm going to share my screen. And if you can head to menti.com from your phones or any other browser that you have and enter the code 2954, it's just going to take a couple of seconds and we'll go through this quick poll that'll inform our team here and also provide feedback for the future. So yeah, if you can head to menti.com and enter the code 2954. You'll see the question that we're asking, what motivated you to consider this certificate? And we have a few options there for you. You'll see your live results coming in, and you can select career advancement, career change, skill building for current role, personal interest, and other. Thank you for participating. We'll leave that on for just a few more seconds while everyone can jump in and answer the poll. It's a good way for us to check the temperature of the room and then see where everyone's coming from. So yeah, looks like career advancement is leading with 11 votes, and then we've got career change, skill building for current role, and we also have some personal interest, which we always welcome. So we'll leave that on for just a few more seconds and move on to the last question. Once again, thanks for joining us on this. I really like this tool, Mentimeter. We used to do polls in our Zoom function before, but Mentimeter is a little more interactive. The colors look nice. So we decided to try that this time around. And this is the next question. What's your current level of knowledge in this field? So if we could take a couple of seconds to quickly answer that. And your options are I'm well informed about the field, I have basic awareness, or I have minimal or no prior knowledge. Um, which is great. We had a session yesterday with people with no prior knowledge and coming from a different background. And I'd love to hear what those backgrounds are because project management is such a uh, topic where coming from all of these different backgrounds actually help you bring that into it. So it's nice to see that there are people with minimal or no prior knowledge, so coming from other backgrounds. All right. Well, it looks like it's a majority of moderate and low for this one, and we'll end the present poll here. And Luke, I'll give it back to you, and I'll invite our academic coordinator, Jamal, to go over a brief overview of the certificate. Jamal is a project management consultant and educator with over 20 years of experience across aviation, banking, IT, real estate, and cybersecurity, with senior roles in places like Lufthansa, CIBC, and TD Bank. Like I said, he is the academic coordinator for our project management certificate and is a regular speaker at PMI chapters and industry events on AI and the future of work. Is also currently pursuing a PhD examining AI's impact on the workplace. Welcome, Jamal. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Mash, and welcome everyone. It's my pleasure to welcome you to this session. I'm going to talk about project management certificate, and I hope that you will join us in the upcoming spring summer intakes for project management courses. Next slide, please. So what is project management? And there are a couple of definitions out there, but in a simple kind of way to look at it is basically using tools, techniques, and frameworks for delivering projects successfully, which involves planning, managing, look after, the project like, from the very beginning and the very end, and making sure that you're using all these tools and knowledge and techniques and experience and best practices to deliver the project successfully, right? And we all do projects. The fact that you are here on time to join this session, that was your very, very mini project, for example, that you planned and you are basically here. And if you think about the poll that we did earlier about, advancing in your career or changing your career, so earning a project management certificate or credential does actually help you, in your aspirations through the knowledge that you acquire. When you study project management, you are actually acquiring a lot of knowledge. And at the same time, if you go for a project management certificate or other, credentials such as PMI, then you are proving to your current employer or future, for example, potential employers that you are investing in yourself and you are differentiating yourself then from other, for example, applicants. Next slide, please. So if you think about project management trends, let's say it this way. Everything that you see happening around you is happening through projects. 2 days, 3 days ago, the premier of Ontario decided to do something with the island airport and expand the runway. And so that is a huge, let's say, program. We call it project program, and that will be done. So advancements around this that we see or we hear about is everything is done through project management. And from a project management trends, there is so much going on. The first, I think, most obvious one is the artificial intelligence, using artificial intelligence, for example, in project management, and it has helped basically deliver projects more efficiently in so many aspects. Other trends is using, for example, waterfall and agile project management. I understand you might not know these jargons, but what I'm trying to say to you is there is actually a more open mind around using different project management approaches or methodologies to deliver the project. And we can't go through the list like one by one, but just to summarize, what I'm trying to tell you is that project management is an essential component, is the vehicle that takes organizations from point A to point B. Next slide, please. For our project management certificate, so you can actually go through the project management certificate successfully, 8 courses online. You don't have to come to campus at all, depending on the number of courses that you will take in every intake. And we have 3 intakes. We have in January, we have in May, and we have in September. So depending on the number of courses that you take, it could take you between 8 months to 2 years roughly to go through the certificate. And the cost, as you can see here, between $6,100 and $7,200. Now, we are an authorized training partner. We are aligned with Project Management Institute. Who is PMI? Well, PMI, just to give you an idea, is the one who owns the Project Management Professional, PMP. You may have heard about this certification. So our courses, our Project Management certificate is actually up to date and aligned with the recent publication of PMI, which is PMBOK 8. We also include in our courses, all of them, basically general AI skills. We're not trying to make you like a technician or a techie, but at the same time, we need to introduce you to how AI is being used in project management. And that's what you will find through our courses, right? And again, the last point is being aligned with Project Management Institute, means the terminology that we use, the material is aligned with the PMP education requirements. For example, if you decide to write the PMP exam and you are qualified, then the education you're having is well aligned with that, right? We have basically taken into consideration the different streams that a student might be looking for. So our project management certificate enables you to go into a general project management or into architecture, engineering, and construction stream, or if you are interested in business information management, and finally, community and health services management. So our project management certificate tries to cater to a wide basically range of audiences in different industries. Next slide, please. We talked about using AI in project management, and our attempt, as I said earlier, is to basically bring AI into the courses, into the knowledge that you are acquiring, but also in some of the exercises and some of the assignments that you are using uh, or writing or completing through the courses. And as you could see, some of the ways of using AI in project management could be through, for example, meetings, whatever meetings entail, scribing, booking, creating material, creating agendas, but also in other areas of project management, such as risk management, or sometimes maybe trying to identify, for example, stakeholders, understand the scope of a project, and so many other areas. But remember, you are not gonna be forced to learn, for example, how to use software coding like Python or technical, terms from that perspective. You are going to be a user of AI and how you use it in project management. Next slide, please. So by completing the certificate at Toronto Metropolitan University, you will learn about project management, you understand it, and if you basically go through the courses and the readings and pay attention and so on, you will be ready to get into the project management field. And again, not reading rather than reading the slide one by one, you will learn basically all aspects of project management. You'll learn about scheduling, about scope, about cost. You will learn about risk management, communications management, procurement, and so many other aspects of project management, which enables you to basically complete a project from A to Z and deliver it successfully. Next slide, please. Okay, so project management salaries, naturally, this is a very big, topic that you could look at, for example. But looking at project managers, for example, and this is from 2023, so things have changed a little bit, but still, we're kind of in the same range. So when you talk about project management salaries, it depends on your experience, it depends on which industry you're in, it depends on the organization that you are actually, joining or working for. So, a lot of aspects play a role in when on what kind of a salary would you expect as a project management person. And again, if you are a project coordinator versus a project, manager versus a senior, person, program, it'll change here. The point from the slide here is just to give an idea between a potential salary if you were certified, for example, with PMP, or if you were not. And you could see the gap here could actually be in the 10, $20,000, meaning we're encouraging you not to go for PMI for project management knowledge only, but also build on it and hopefully get certified by PMI. Next slide, please. So when I say the term project management person, and I use it on purpose here because as a project management person, you could have so many different roles. As an entry level, and this is really a good, way to enter the project management world, you could work as an assistant to the project manager. And the official title that we use here is project coordinator, project control officer, and so many others. But basically, what you're doing here is you are working with a project manager to deliver a project. Then you have the project manager with the different seniorities that are attached to it over here. And then you could have a program manager, or you could have a project director, program director, PMO director. All these things are possibilities in front of you. Depending also on the industry that you're in, you could be a technical project manager, a project engineer. If you are in construction field, you could be a construction project manager, and so on. So a lot of roles that are out there available for people with project management skills. Next slide, please. So um, in a very short time, it's impossible for us to cover all aspects of why project management is important and why proper organized knowledge, the one that we offer you through the project management certificate, is the way to go. In my opinion, and out of my own experience, project management changed my life. I continue to use it in every aspect of my life, whether working as a consultant or in my PhD or in everything that I do. Project management just simply rewires your brain to become a better person. Thank you very much.
Love that. Thank you so much, Jamal, for that overview and for sharing our knowledge. I loved when you shared about how, project management is the vehicle that takes organizations from point A to point B. I think that's a really great analogy. Now it's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Rina Morar, who will share a little bit about her experience with the certificate here at the Chang School. As I've mentioned before, Rina is from the healthcare sector with over 16 years of experience and is now a clinical specialist with the Ministry of Health. Welcome, Rina.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my pleasure to be here. I just finished the project management certificate. Oh my God, I didn't just finish it. It's been a couple of years. And in that time, I've also done my master's as well in health admin. And I think I like to start these sessions off by saying that these courses, I'm glad I took them because, like Jamal said, it affects every part of your life, not just your job. So it affects everything from the way you plan birthday parties to the way you approach interviews to the way you approach new jobs or projects. So even everything that I learned in the project management certificate, I took forward and used in my master's program. It was seen as an asset in all my group work. Um, I was always the one planning, organizing, setting timelines, deadlines, goals. Um, and even after I finished my master's and did a bunch of interviews too, even planning things like interviews. So, where am I going to interview? What am I going to research? Um, and also in the interview, I found knowing project management terminology, even if it's not a project management role, is really, really helpful. So I interviewed for two roles. One was the clinical specialist role. The other one was an actual project management role. And it was helpful because in the interview, I could bring examples of Gantt charts, risk registers, a 3 month plan. Funnily enough, I did not take the project management job, but I did take the clinical specialist job, and I work with project managers. Um, and funnily enough, when they sent my welcome email, the thing they highlighted was the fact that I did have project management experience and knowledge, and that spoke hugely to what this program gave me. And this job, I have to say, is a big change. I'm a registered nurse, and I went from clinical to government, and it really helped. Um, to know how the project was going through and all the terminology that people were using. I know in the classes there's a lot of construction examples and projects, and everyone wants to do a construction project. And I was like, when am I ever going to use this in healthcare? And now I'm in the health capitals branch, and all they do is talk about construction. So you never know where things are going to come back and turn around. So I think everything that you learn in this program is going to be helpful somewhere along the line.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, you're so right. You don't know where and when it might become useful, but it does. At some point, right? Finally, we will head over to Kevin Holditch. Kevin is the Director of Project Management at CIBC and specializes in program management, project management in both predictive and agile methodologies, building high performance teams, coaching and mentoring, fintech, IT infrastructures, and leading all of the delivery for financial crime at CIBC. Welcome, Kevin.
Thanks so much, Mesh. I need to write you a better one of those. But and Rena, the reason that you got that because you had that project management on your resume is exactly what I look for. Because you know why? It shows them that you know how to get things done. And that's exactly what people like me in the project space are looking for to get things done. And I guess I'm jumping ahead, where I'm the director and the head of delivery for financial crimes technology at CIBC. So our purview is large. We manage all of the projects that keep our anti-money laundering and our regulatory business satisfied and enabled, as well as our regulators. My team also manages an agile aspect of that and release management, so we are constantly moving, and we're very, very highly regulated. What I was saying about knowing how to get things done is part of the beauty of project management and understanding the simplicities and speaking the same common language in setting and managing expectations, being that leader, that person that everybody comes to know what's happening and where things are going. And in my organization, we we sort of draw a similarity to the conductor of an orchestra. While you may not necessarily need to know how to play a tuba, you know what a beautiful tuba sounds like and how it all orchestrates together so that your audience, the sponsors and your stakeholders hear this beautiful sound appropriately played at the same time. And that, it's a it's a lot of work. And there are a lot of things that go into that. The one beautiful thing about project management. So I'm in financial tech. I don't know which way Rena is, but Rena is in healthcare, right? So these are transferable skills that it's kind of like, they say math is a language. Project management has its own lexicon and language where you learn it and you can apply that into different areas of professional or even personal life. I know my family gets annoyed when I start project managing our vacations and things like that. So, um,
Yeah, I love that. Vacationing and project management is always definitely a good intersection there. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your insights, Kevin. Now, I guess we can open up the floor for Q&A. We've got a few questions that have come in so far, and I'd love to hear from everyone. What are some of the different backgrounds you're coming from and trying to transition into? That's always good for us to know. But yeah, and any other questions that you may have. So let's start with the first question is how do we approach entry-level project management jobs after this course, right? That's the big question that everybody has, like how to take that next step after and maybe how to sort of start preparing for it when you're about to finish the certificate.
Kevin, you want to take it?
if you want to start, Jamal, I'll jump in.
Okay, all right. So this is a question that comes up all the time, and it's absolutely an amazing and important question, and it's absolutely fair to ask it. So in order for you to get into the project management domain, as someone, for example, who doesn't have experience, that's the first thing that will kind of show up as an obstacle in front of you. And that's actually fine. That's fine. So if you work for a company, that is actually one of the easiest places to start basically poking around to see. If you have a good manager who's supportive, you can open up to your manager and say, hey, I aspire to become a project manager. Could you please maybe give me an opportunity to volunteer a little bit of my time, right? Start volunteering first, a little bit of my time, just to gain some experience. And if you are able to prove yourself within the company, then that's the easiest transfer. Okay, you can become a project coordinator first, helping a project manager learn the ropes, and then from there you grow within the company. That is always the easiest, way to go. Second to that could be volunteering. We have a number of, not-for-profit organizations. We also have Project Management Institute, PMI, that they look for volunteers as well. So that's another way for you to gain experience. You're volunteering your time. In exchange, you're gaining some, experience, and also you're putting your experience on the resume. It doesn't matter really in general if your experience is in not for profit or otherwise. I'm talking in general as a project manager, right? Specifics could be a bit different here and there, right? And another idea is tell everyone in your circle that you are aspiring to become a project manager on LinkedIn, on social media. Just tell everybody and anybody. There's nothing wrong, with that, right? And also during the courses, make sure that you really work hard. You study, you read the material, you get involved in the course work because that will give you the information that you need when you sit for an interview. You can't say in an interview, what? 1 second. ChatGPT, what is the risk register? You can't do that. So all these things collectively, right, hopefully will enable you to get into the project management world. Evan, from experience?
Yeah, exactly that. Self-evaluation is key. Knowing what you need to improve on and going and finding out what that is and finding out how to close that gap is really important. So somewhere like this is really key, getting that information, that base. I just had somebody interview for me, and he said he had very little financial project management experience. But you know what he did? After hours, he went and figured out where to get that experience and that background and said, look, I'm halfway through. Here are all the things that I've done. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Love that. Thank you. Okay, so next question is, for someone who's already has the PMP certificate, are there any benefits for this, for taking this program?
Yes, absolutely. Knowledge is always important. Knowledge changes all the time. Sometimes, if you have a certification and you don't keep, for example, updating yourself, I understand as a PMP, you have to report your PDUs, professional development units, but 60 hours, I'm not saying anything. I have to do that myself. But that is different than going through courses, especially when courses get updated with the latest and greatest and so on. So absolutely, knowledge is power in this case. It will help you because when you get interviewed as a PMP, okay, that's your PMP, fine. But now you're in an interview. They're asking you questions. If you're not really, you know, well versed and informed and so on, the PMP is not going to help you move to the second interview, for example, or move further, right? So um, I want to mention something earlier about breaking into the project management world. Also, certification, for example, from PMI, the CAPM, right? Certified Associate Project Manager, is a certification from PMI that you can sit for, take without having the experience as a project manager. That also helps, show that you are taking initiative and investing in yourself.
Great answer. Thank you. Okay, so this is a good question, I think, and maybe all of you can weigh in a little bit. What are some of the challenges faced with project management right now, or in project management jobs? What are some of the challenges? Yeah.
Uh,
So maybe, I don't know, Rina hasn't spoken in a while. I don't know if you
yeah.
want to get started, and then everyone else can join in.
I don't know if I have much to add, but I know it's like working with project managers and coordinating some of my own projects. It's not easy, I would say. There is a lot of coordinating, and it's something that you have to love. Like, you have to love seeing all the pieces and love seeing them all come together and meshing together. Um, and I think if you do like that kind of thing, project management is for you. Otherwise, it is very, very challenging to do, to see that whole picture and put all the pieces together.
Thanks for sharing that.
Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely. Having a holistic mindset is key. Organization is 100%. There's 1,000 things flying everywhere, risks and issues and budget constraints, and somebody wants to give you a second project or sometimes a fourth if you work for me. So being organized is absolutely key, and then adaptability and for us efficiency, right? Because we're talking about AI and things like that. So running your meeting minutes through a large language model, so it doesn't take you 30 minutes, it takes 5. So then you can manage those projects. A lot of it is about efficiency, transitioning to smarter, not harder, so we can manage more with what we've got.
Awesome, thank you. I know there's a lot of questions about the PMP exam and taking it after the course. I know we can't speak to what they count as experience other than, what is specifically in our courses, but if you could maybe just high level talk about
Yeah,
the process and what
yeah.
people need to do. 'Cause-
Absolutely.
yeah.
So there are two steps for writing a PMP exam. One, you need to have experience as a project manager, and some other requirements such as education, which can be actually fulfilled through one of our courses. So the first step with Project Management Institute is to apply. To apply to PMI, fill out an application, and wait for PMI to approve, your application. And once your application is approved, then comes the second part, which is booking the PMP exam and writing it and hopefully passing it from the first time. So no, we cannot just write the PMP exam like that. We have to apply first to PMI, get approval. If we don't have the right experience, sometimes PMI audit applications if they are not too happy with the application information, so on. They might actually reject it, which means you need to find out what happened, and then if it's lack of experience or something like that, then you need to correct that and then apply again, and then you'll be able to write the PMP exam. This is in a nutshell. Okay, going through the project management certificate, for example, gives you the knowledge that you need not only for a PMP but also to work as a project manager if the organization is not looking for a PMP certification. Gives you that, right? And then at the end, you can sit for a specific course that prepares you to write the PMP exam. You have to go through testing, practice exams of many tests, and also practice sitting down for 3 hours. Not an easy thing to do. There's more that we can say. 4 hours, Kevin. Yeah, well, I was a bit faster. Okay, but we can
The
talk
other
about it.
thing,
Go ahead.
just wanted to add as well, Jamal, to your point. I think I just saw it flash that someone said, should I just jump straight to the PMP? It's extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. I have had project managers that have managed projects for a decade fail because they don't have the specific details of what they're looking for. My recommendation when I tell my people if they're looking to write it is plan to study for 6 months.
Yes. And to add to Kevin, if you don't mind, just in case you have the knowledge now, PMI will change the existing PMP exam to a new exam in July 2026. Just in case, you are ready, don't delay it. Otherwise, you'll have to sit for the newer exam, which we don't know much about it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks so much for sharing that, all of you. Now, we have a few questions about, other programs that are available. People are mentioning Udemy, Google, and all other programs. I think maybe we can, in general, speak to how the program is not really different from other programs, but sort of, what we focus on, that maybe people are
Yeah.
comparing with other condensed curriculums.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So our program stands out absolutely in several key areas. So much, for example, all our instructors are well experienced, means have industry experience. Our courses, for example, the way how we offer them, distance education, asynchronous, but the instructors are always involved in these courses. And we have the three project management streams that we mentioned a bit earlier. The curriculum, we keep reviewing the curriculum to make sure that it's always up to date and kind of cutting edge if you want, right? And tailoring the learning experience of the students, like for example, the way how the curriculum is being written or updated, and also the assignments, for example, how they are written, how the groups are put together, and so on. That all gives us basically an edge over the existing programs. Plus, you have the discipline through the program versus studying on your own. I'm not saying studying on your own is bad. I did a lot of that, but I'm saying the program will actually steer you towards, achieving your goal and getting through the project and certificate and so on. And then we have career services and support as well, right? It's important for you as a student. Just in a nutshell.
And to put point on Jamaltsu, I do agree with the experience of the professors. So when you go through the courses, you can actually tell that these professors are actually doing the work. They have done the work. They are doing the work in the field, and they are bringing that knowledge to you as well. I did not do the PMI like PMP certification, and I find that on a resume, to say that you've gone to an accredited university, um, like a known university, is a lot me- means a lot more than the University of Google or other institutions as well. Also, the courses they offer, like all the other courses, are amazing. I wish I could have taken all the electives on top of what I took. I took the healthcare stream, but everything is very relevant um, and well thought out.
I love that. Thank you. Thanks for sharing your insight and your perspective, Rena. That's always very helpful for our learners. What are the best ways or websites to volunteer? Because they're not finding it on the PMI website. Is there anything else you would recommend where they can look for volunteer opportunities?
So much sure. If you take down the name of the student, or if you would like, we can later on. Basically, I know there is a way when you go to PMI website to register as a volunteer, and then you start basically getting emails from PMI, basically, announcing these volunteer opportunities. And so that's one way from PMI. Otherwise, searching on Google for not-for-profit. You can use AI on Google as well. And so I'm laughing because AI is everywhere. And basically just create a list and then reach out to these different organizations in a nice email. You're offering basically, that's volunteer.ca. Yes, thank you, Mash. You're offering your expertise for free for these organizations that are always under financial stress, right? So yeah,
Exactly.
that's what I would do. Yeah.
Love that. Thank you for sharing that. And I will be sharing my email so you can all reach out to me directly with any questions and we can help you with that. There's also Habitat for Humanity in towns and cities. That's also another volunteer organization that you can look into. Okay, so we have a lot of people with different backgrounds. I know there's someone with 30 years in experience in client relations and operations and real estate, someone with background in IT support. I think there was another one who has background in project management. So maybe all of you can touch on a little bit about, how that background is useful when you come into project management and bringing that with you and how that can help. I know you probably won't get a lot of credits unless you have those exact certificates and syllabuses. You can share those with us and we can take a look if there is a transfer credit situation possible. But just in general, if you have professional experience, how that comes into a benefit, maybe we can share on that.
So if you have professional experience in a certain area. Let's say, for example, you're in construction and you aspire to become a construction project manager, that would be awesome. Why? Because you have the industry knowledge. I cannot be easily a construction project manager. I don't know the lingo. I don't know that stuff. Also, if you are in pharmaceutical, you want to become a project management in pharmaceutical, leverage your knowledge, right? You could be a professional engineer, not even in the field, and you would like to become, like a construction project manager, you can become. You have the industry knowledge, which is not easy. Like, if you are in healthcare, for example, Rena, right? Anytime, Rena, I'm speaking on your behalf now, you can decide to become a healthcare project manager. There are specifics to the industry. You have to understand, right? They're specific to the industry. So that's the first thing I would look at, right? In my own industry, what are the project managers are doing? I aspire to become one. What can I build on the knowledge? That's one. The other one, sometimes there are transferable skills between industries. So, for example, CIBC or RBC, the banking industry, they have been for years, okay, forming task forces to figure out how do we benefit as a financial institution from artificial intelligence. So if you are an IT project manager, that's an opportunity for you to see, can you actually come into the financial world, like the financial institutions, and become a project manager there top? That is easily transferable, right? Because IT is in everywhere you go, right? And so on. The point is to keep an open mind. Also, look at the job postings, for example, from some well-known websites, and look at what they actually post as requirements and see how can you actually acquire. Now, don't believe everything they post because they do this whole bulk brain dump there just to cover themselves from a legal perspective, right? But you still can have an idea. So absolutely, that's actually a way to go.
I actually I like the program as well because of everyone's different background as well. Like you'll be in a group with someone with construction background, someone in banking, someone in like from everywhere, right? And it's nice you pick a project and it might not be in healthcare like I'm in, it might be in something different. And it's nice to get a different perspective and how different people look at things. So bringing your experience into the certificate will also benefit other students, and you'll benefit from other students' knowledge and background as well.
That's the best thing that I love about going to conferences is like interacting with people from different industries to find out like what weird way do you do this that I can bring back to mine so that way I can learn a little bit from you guys. I think that's fantastic. Also about your background and experience, Jamal is 100% right. Bring what you know and also leverage the opportunities that you have. So if you're working and you're in an environment and there's a project going on over there, ask to shadow, ask to watch, ask to take minutes. Nobody's going to stop you or say no to somebody who wants to come and take minutes. There are always opportunities. And when you're looking for them, take note of the leaders. What are they doing? How are they acting? How are they coordinating things? Because you're going to want to take a little bit of everybody that you learn from to make your own way of doing things. It's kind of how we all do it. You take the best of every little bit to make your own way. So it's always learning, finding out what you can apply. What phase of what you're doing, what's the project phase? Are you in the operations on the end? Are you in the planning at the beginning? So that like figure out where you're in or what part of projects you can participate in. Think about it from that perspective and how you want to apply what you're learning.
Yeah, and never underestimate what you know. We are our worst enemy. We always think our skills are not good enough. Guess what? They might be amazing. You just need to, you know, just march forward. Mesh, by the way, I put the links for the PMI volunteer in the chat for anyone
Yes.
who's
Yep.
okay.
Thank you for sending those in. I'm going to put that in for everyone so that they can all go ahead in there. Yeah, I'll send those out from the
Thank you.
chat
Thank you.
with to everybody that's visiting. But thank you so much once again. I'm just gonna share one really quick thing here before we do our closing remarks. You know, for all our learners, you have career advising, and professional development support. These are benefits that you get as soon as you enroll with us. There is also career wraparound support from the second last course for the last two courses. And then you have full access to TMU support resources and other learner privileges and some financial support awards and bursaries, although OSAP is not available for this one. But I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you to our speakers for joining in and sharing your knowledge and your insights with us, sharing how project management can make a big difference in whatever you're doing and whatever background you're coming in from. And thank you to our attendees for really great questions and for this dialogue. If you're interested in learning more about the project management certificate, please visit continuing.torontomu.ca and you can contact me directly at match.chaudhry at torontomu.ca. And we will be sending you a recording of this session with a survey within the next 24 to 48 hours. On behalf of the Chime School and all of our presenters and panelists, thank you so much for joining us and have a great rest of the day.